So what I have here is brick charcoal, which is what I'm going to do with do the shading with. And this is where the drawing should really come together.
Can I just interrupt again?
Sure.
This is already a very nice drawing as is.
Oh, thank you very much. But onward and upward, right? I think that gets the point across. So you asked about like me looking back and forth between the sides. One of the things about this technique that I've often wondered is this a truly ambidextrous thing, or is there something else going on here? And I actually think there's something else going on here. I think that one hand, my offhand, is a slave to my right hand. And the reason why I think that is because I don't think I could actually draw one thing with one hand and another thing with the other. So it's not quite what I would term as really true ambidexterity. And I think that what's interesting about that is that this idea of slaving one hand to the other, I think everybody does that. And if you can do this, which I'm hoping you can't, or this, you draw triangles and draw squares. The right hand's leading with the left hand and is following. The only difference between me doing this and me doing this is that I've been drawing for 30 years. And I got 30 years of practice, and I can use this hand and then chain this hand to it and make it work that way.
Do you play the piano? Do you play the piano?
No, I do not. I don't, but I'm interested in that because I find that the idea of the piano is like an ambidextrous instrument. Whereas I think that a guitar is not, like string instruments are not, because you're picking one hand and you're predicting where the picking is going to happen with the other hand. And that strikes me as slaving this hand to the picking hand, even though you're doing different things.
To some extent.
Yeah.
I see it more as you're using both hands to shape one thing.
Yeah.
This hand shapes things in a certain way, and this hand shapes things in another way. But you're making one thing.
Yep. As opposed to playing the piano, where
Yeah.
you're doing something.
Yeah.
You're independently making two different things with each hand, and that's why I'm drawing the difference between the two. But so I really do think that that disability is not that. I think it's more common than what you would think it is. I think given enough practice, most people could try this and come up with some kind of. I mean, the first thing to try would be to see if you can write your name, because that's something like your signature. See if you can do your signature forward and backward at the same time. And if you can do that, you can do this, because it's basically the same thing. It's a gesture drawing with either hand.
I can't do that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now, and then the other unusual thing about this is that if I were in my studio right now, I would go back into this and I would use an eraser to go in and I can do some more modeling on some of these things. But what I found is that I can't erase at the same time with both hands. I think that there's an editing function in the melody that I just can't do with both hands at the same time. So my solution is to use my left hand to erase on the right side and use my right hand to erase on the left. And I like that because it actually integrates the drawing a little more. So obviously my left hand is not as proficient as my right, which is why I draw at this scale. Because if I drew any smaller, you would really see that the left hand isn't doing what the right hand the left hand can't do what the right hand can. But if I draw any bigger, I can't see what I'm doing. So there's a limit that way too. And I've done a quick internet search to see if anybody else can do this, if anybody else has got this talent. And I found people online who do things very meticulously and very slowly. And to them, the symmetry is much more important. I'm more interested in making an integrated drawing, so that's why I try to do it a little faster. Those other things are usually pretty abstract, more pattern-oriented, which I also think fits into some mental process about how they were actually able to do it. So that's it. Anybody have any questions about this problem?
I'm interested. Have you tried profile?
I have, and that's tough because it's. But I tried to do it on Janet's head basically, where I had a face on one side and a face on the other, and it was too far out of my peripheral vision to make it work. I could not keep both hands doing the same thing at the same time, even though I was trying to do the same profile. I couldn't do it. It works better with this really strict symmetrical things. Although that doesn't mean I won't try it later on, but maybe it's just a matter of more practice.
You just need to be closer together.
That's true. Actually, I tried out a small piece of paper too, because I knew it was going to be a problem. Because I had problems drawing one of these where I was in a really cramped space and I couldn't see the edges, and the ears came out like lumps because I couldn't see them both at the same time. So I know I couldn't do anything bigger than this piece of paper. I think the issue was I had the paper sideways and I was trying to do these heads, and the faces just got out of my peripheral vision.
So to my point earlier, you are sort of centered and then dealing with what's in the periphery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's why the eyes go back and forth all the time. And it's a constant scanning thing. And that's part of the increasing the awareness part of the whole thing. It's like when I'm normally drawing, even if I'm drawing my offhand, I can just concentrate on one thing and don't have to worry about the whole image. But when I'm doing this, it really drives me to think about the whole piece of paper, which is a good thing to have happen. And it probably feeds into the paintings, or will feed into the paintings, because that gets so detail oriented and so detail process oriented, that would help that too.
Are you blurry without your glasses on?
I can,
Because did you ever try doing it without your glasses on?
this is my resolution for it.
So did you ever try doing that just to really try and not use your eyes as much, but just sort of more feel it?
No, I haven't tried that. Well, I used to do blind contour drawings when I was in undergrad, so I think a lot of us tried that who went to art school. And I hated doing that. And it never did anything for me. So I'm kind of, it's never crossed my mind to do it because I've had such bad experiences with that other process.
Have you ever tried sculpture?
I've tried like assemblage things. Like I've never like got into clay, not since I was really young. You know, I did that when I was a kid. But never seriously in an artistic sense. I mean, outside of like really weird little surrealist kind of objects, that's really all I've ever done.
So you haven't done it in paint yet?
I have not. The thing about drawing is that the materials, unless you have a malfunction with them, they're endless.
Yeah.
So like a charcoal pencil is an endless supply of medium. Charcoal sticks are endless. Paint, you got 2 strokes and you got to go back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that would work.
Yeah.
Maybe paint sticks maybe might work though, or paint markers.
Sure.
Because that's the thing about paint sticks and paint markers is that they're paint that's got an infinite supply, or not like a long-term supply. And I don't think I could do that different. To be honest with you, I think I could do it.
And so have you noticed a greater interface between the bicameral?
Between the brain one side.
Yeah.
Well, no, I haven't figured out a unified field theory yet, if that's what you're asking. So, I do think it's helped me describe my work better, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do think that. Because this weekend has been a huge exercise in describing what I do. And it seems to have come easier this time around than it usually does. So maybe it does help in that way, too. Since you probably all been sitting here looking at the work while I've been working on this, does anyone have any questions about the show at all? I mean,
Well, first of all, thank you.
oh.